Welcome to Podnutz Daily for April 6, 2009, episode number 159. Talked a couple days ago about HP laptop I had a customer brought into me, and the screen, it was really strange. You'd turn it on, and even this started right from the BIOS even. You turn it on, the screen would get all fuzzy for about 5 seconds, and it would be clear for 5 seconds. Then it would get all fuzzy for 5 seconds, and it would be clear for 5 seconds. And it would cycle this on and off, on and off. Usually when screens get fuzzy like that, I assume it's the screen that's bad. But when the fact that it was cycling and that there was a good picture for 5 seconds meant that maybe the screen wasn't the problem. So I did try using a different screen in the machine, and it did the same thing, so I knew it wasn't the screen. I ruled out the inverter board because the backlight was staying on the whole time. So the inverter was doing its job. It was lighting the bulb. That's its job. So, no, excuse me. It wasn't that, I don't think. I checked where the screen connects to the motherboard, and that looked okay. Last thing I did was I flashed the BIOS. Maybe there was a BIOS issue with the video. I did that, still blinking, so I'm assuming now it's a motherboard. And what did the customer want to do? He's going to hold off on the motherboard, I think. But that's my guess. Never saw that problem before. That was a strange one. Okay. Is the audio coming through okay for you guys? Let me know there in the chat room if the audio is a little fuzzy. Okay, good. The Podnutz Lounge. I'm going to promote the lounge here. Check out the Podnutz Lounge. It's at podnutz.com/lounge. And what it is a chat room similar to the one that if you guys hear me talking to people on the air a lot, that's because I'm talking to people in the chat room, the Ustream chat room, because I'm doing the show live as well as recording it for the audio podcast. Well, we have a chat room at Podnutz. It's called the Podnutz Lounge, and it's a spot that hopefully, if enough people get into it, it's a spot you can always go to where you could talk about computer repair and talk about tech issues, and pretty much whatever you want to talk about. Mainly it's about tech, and somebody could be there to help you or answer your questions, or you could just go and have fun. I mean, a couple days ago, we just I sent a Twitter out. We all gathered in the lounge, like 5 or 6 of us. We just talked and had a good time. So check out the Podnutz Lounge. Go there every once in a while. See if there's see what's going on there. If you have questions, try there. And try the Podnutz forums as well, podnutz.com/forums. It's not a chat room atmosphere, but it's close. It's almost like instant messaging, but not quite. It's like you got a list of basically, you know how forums work. You got a list of topics, and then people write things for each of those topics, and that it becomes a discussion, and there's different threads. And check out that too. There's so much good information in the Podnutz forums. I have a feeling if I just sat down and read the Podnutz forums from start to finish, I would know twice as much, at least, as what I know right now. One of the things we talked about in the lounge there that night was one of the people in the lounge was Acid Burn, who I've mentioned before. He's a moderator at the forums, and he has this Toshiba laptop he's working on. And he was interested in getting a motherboard replacement for that. Well, Toshiba laptops usually have a model number on these motherboards. It usually starts with one letter, then it's a long series of numbers. If you can grab that model number off the motherboard and do an eBay search for that, you're going to get a lot of results. It's actually easier than doing... and probably give you better results than doing a search for the model number of that computer and then typing the word motherboard like in an eBay search. For example, say it was A205-something. So you type A205-something motherboard. Instead of just typing the model of this motherboard, might not yield as good search results. So try to get that model number. It's somewhere on the motherboard. You probably have to get the motherboard out to see it. But I know for a couple years it was V, the letter was V, and then like 10 digits after that. And you just do an eBay search for that because some of these computers use the same motherboard for different models. So if you're just searching by the model number, you're not going to get as many search results if you search by the model number of the motherboard. So if you search by the model number of the computer, I'm saying you're not going to get as many results as the model number on the motherboard. It's one thing to try. Plus also, Toshiba laptops are easy to take apart because most of them have labels next to all the screws so you know what size screw goes in each hole. Like there's F5, F3, and F9 and F8, and it tells you the number. That number basically tells you, I think it's millimeters, how long the screw is you're supposed to put in the hole. So that's good if you're going to take apart a laptop and you're not very experienced. If you have a Toshiba, take that one apart first. This way you could not have to worry too much about where the screws go. Hardest part about doing laptop repairs is putting everything back together, I think. Somebody also suggested that I go over some of my favorite Mac software, because I'm running a Mac right now. Basically, it's a Hackintosh, which is a PC running Mac OS X, and he wants to know what's some of my favorite Mac software. I'm just going to look down at my dock here and see what I got going. Well, for podcasting live, I use a program called CamTwist, which allows me to do this green screen you see back here, and allows me to do like labeling and this type of thing, and it goes right into Ustream. So I use CamTwist. I use Skype. I love Skype. The chat program, my IRC program, which is the chat room I'm looking at here, I use a program called Colloquy, Colloquy, and that's great because it saves the chat room log every time I use it. So I know as every time I turn on the chat room, it automatically saves to a text file, so I could post that in the notes for Podnutz Daily. I use the Adobe suite of their creative suite for things. Like I use Dreamweaver. I use Fireworks to create graphics. I use Flash and not too much Photoshop. Those are the three main ones I use from Adobe. I use GarageBand, of course, for recording. The only thing I don't like about GarageBand is the quality. Your recording quality is not as good as if you use like Logic or Cubase or like Pro Tools or those kind of things. You're not going to get the quality. It only records at a sample rate of 44.1, I think. Where the other ones you could go up to 192. So the quality is going to be a little better on the other ones. Other than that, GarageBand is so awesome for just simple recording and that kind of thing. I've been using iMovie to make the laptop repair videos. A great FTP client or FTP software I use is CyberDuck. Like in the PCs where you use FileZilla, I use CyberDuck on the Mac. It's so nice. Really easy, smooth interface. I use Firefox for web browsing. Which leads me to... Those are just a couple other tools I use on Mac. I'm using another program. It's called LineIn. It allows me to basically have the audio going to the Ustream so you guys can hear it live who are listening live. Okay, enough Mac stuff, but I'm done. I do want to talk about Firefox. Firefox, Mike Smith talked about this on the last Mike Tech Show last Thursday. Firefox is messing up, in my opinion. It's getting buggier. My particular bug is I can't open my Gmail. When I log into Gmail and I go to open the Gmail, it doesn't open. It becomes... The mail does not become a link. It just becomes flat text, so I can't open it. The way I have to open it is refresh. And as soon as it's done refreshing, quickly open my